Wolfpack Nation? We have had so much fun breaking down the defense with Kenton. We decided to do a third episode. We're going in uncharted waters here, but we said, the fans want more. We're going to give them more. So with this episode, we're going to go the first two episodes. We started with D-line. That was episode 1. Episode 2 was linebacker. So if you haven't watched those, that's okay. You can still watch this one, but go back and watch those other ones because you're going to, get some great information that our man Kenton's been providing us, great stories. And he's been with the Wolfpack. He was at ACC Media Days covering that. So he's been giving us some great anecdotal stories. So in this third episode, though, we're going to talk about, I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Defensive backs. We're going to talk about defensive backs. A unit that has definitely stepped up in recent years. We've done a great job at recruiting those positions. We got, again, in the 3-5-5, so you're going to run five D backs. You got obviously your left corner, your right corner. You got to have your nickel, and then your strong safety and free safety. Again, all this information is projected based going into camp. But we got redshirt sophomore Shaheem Battle Island as is his NIL stuff. So if you haven't followed him, go check him out. He's got some great merch. So happy to plug that. It's strong safety. You got Cyrus Fagan coming back, grad transfer coming back in. He had come in from FSU last year, got injured. So again, we're expecting some great things. He definitely wanted to run it back and, just prove last year was just, kind of an anomaly. I would say the heart and soul of our secondary, Tanner Engel, free safety, senior. One of those guys that I'm sure Isaiah and the crew recruited to come back for his senior year. I think he's a 6-year guy or 5th or 6th year, because I know he had a COVID year in there. So he's one of those kind of Renfro guys who's been with the program forever, right? So
yeah,
in fact, he might have been there when you were there, right, Kenton? He's been there for so long.
Not quite.
But then we have right cornerback Derrick Pitts, junior, transferred in last year from Marshall, and then before that he was at West Virginia. And then rounding out the group playing nickel is Tyler Baker Williams, senior guy, great guy. So last year we had Shaheen was an honorable mention. Tyler Baker Williams was an honorable mention. Was Pitts an honorable mention as well? I believe. Question mark.
Hold on, I had it pulled up.
I'm not sure there.
I think it was just.
Well, you know what? I would give him honorable mention because he had that interception that sealed the game against Carolina. So I'm giving him an honorable mention if no one else is going to give him honorable mention.
Tyler Baker Williams and Shaheem Battle were honorable mention.
Okay, gotcha.
Tanner Engel, first team.
Yep. So again, that's the back end of the 3-5-5. I don't know where we want to go with that. Just, I guess, Kenton, just give us your initial thoughts off of those guys that I threw out there.
So wait, before we get to them, you said was any of the players there old enough to have been there when I was there? Oddly enough, Tyrone Riley was there when I was at State, and I saw him recently, and I'm like, man, you still in college? Oh my God! I tell you what, you've been in college for forever. But anyway,
hold on before you go there. In the immortal words of Tommy Boy, they're called doctors.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I know he got a couple of masters under his belt. But now, I'm cautiously optimistic because I believe out of, again, like I talked about in the last episode, everything comes with a silver lining. And RDBs, if you look at the Wake Forest game, right, we put Wake Forest in a lot of bad situations. 3rd and long. I believe there was, a 4th and 9 or 4th and 12 that was converted. Like, you can't have that. You can't have that. And so, it's a situation where, I already talked about Chris Ingram and Tayshaun Smith and how the guys who were supposed to be the guys got hurt early and all that. Yeah. Great. That's fine. You still got to figure it out. You still got to – nobody wants to hear about the labor pains. They just want to see the baby. And that's the reality. The baby was getting off the field on 3rd and long, and at times we just could not produce what we were supposed to. So there comes a moment where you ask yourself, is this defensive backfield going to mature and be better than they were last year? Because let's just be honest, if that piece comes along,
last year, yep.
If Cyrus Fagan stays healthy, if we get Tanner Engel staying in games, and he did a great job of it last year, by Great job. Compared to what we've seen in the past, great job. Tyler Baker Williams stepped up. Shaheem Battle stepped up. If those guys play like they should, we're in a good spot. But if those corners step up, if we get maturity out of the corner, there was too much panic at the moment of truth.
Yep.
There was much too much panic. There was too many moments where it's like, dude, you're in great position. Trust your technique. And if this guy makes a world-beating play, he makes a world-beating play, and that's fine. It's ACC football. You're gonna have your Mario Addisons, your Charleston Rambos, your DeAndre Hopkins, and all that good stuff. You're gonna have those guys that exist in the world. It's okay, but it's too many moments where it's just like, I know that your coach isn't coaching that, and so this is the group that to me has the most questions coming in because yes. Our safeties, very fairness, quality. Our nickelbacks, some of the best in the conference. Our outside corners give me reason for concern.
I know.
If I was Tony Gibson, I don't know how he got that beautiful head of hair because I'd be pulling some out.
Like
during that Wake Forest game, I would have pulled all of it out.
Teams shied away from throwing against Shy Battle. And so they were picking on the other side, so whatever side that he wasn't on. But just looking at some of the stats last year, we averaged giving up 6 yards a passing play. Not bad. I mean, that's again in a pass heavy game that college football is today. That's not bad, right? Obviously, you'd probably like to maybe get that below 5, but they average giving up just over 207 yards a game. Again, not bad. I mean, overall, gave up 19 touchdowns. But I think to your point, we gave those chunk plays at the wrong times of the game. Overall, great, did great, but there were times where it really hurt us. And you specifically mentioned the Miami game and the Wake Forest game. Again, Coach Doran said in his ACC media day, if you make one play in either of those games, you're playing for an ACC championship game. So if you knock down a 4th and 9, if you don't let a receiver break open or whatever the case may be, you're playing for a championship. So with that being said, I think there's a lot to be had there. I think we're going to be fine because and you probably can speak to it really good during your time at State. Defensive backs were a problem back then. We've done a much better job at recruiting and developing those players, especially in today's game.
I will say this: the overall level of talent has raised. Right, I'm not one of those old heads that's like, oh, they weren't as good as we were back in our. Listen, they're better. They're better. Period. And with that being said, there has been some improvement in the defensive backfield. Absolutely. When you look at, if you go back a year where you saw during the COVID year, even the walk-ons like Isaac Duffy stepping up and making big plays, that was, he's no longer with the program, but that just moments like that speak to what you're looking at in terms of the type of team you are. If folks are walking into situations, making plays like that. So yes, the overall talent level has risen. But at the end of the day, this has to be, you got to show me. You got to show me what's going on. You got to show me that you can handle being relied upon to go out there and win some games. And this is, and let me say this. NC State was second in the conference in interceptions, right? So this isn't to say that the defensive backs are complete and total slouches and all that good stuff. Yeah. But the linebackers contributed to that number heavily, number one. And number two, I mean, it's the old question of who would you rather have, with the gambler that, they make great things happen when it's great, but when it's bad, it's real bad, or the even keel, steady, they're going to knock down the ball, but they're not going to intercept it. And I'll tell you, there were times last year where you look at our defensive backfield and you're like, gosh, just give me the steady. Just give me the nice and easy as she goes, and we'll be all right. So I am seeing a situation where there is more talent overall. This is a team that these defensive backs, they're not – the fact that they're in position, right? Like there weren't a lot of blown coverages. So that's the good thing. But again, when you're at that moment of truth, and you and the receiver, you're in his hip pocket. You went from drive to phase. For those of you who don't understand, you need to be in drive when you're more than arm's length away from the receiver. That means your head is down. You're driving towards the receiver. When you're in phase, that's when you can look back at the ball. So when you're in that moment, when you finally get to phase, you've done the hard part. Getting the drive and staying there, that's the hard part. When you get to phase, make a play. Be a playmaker. You know what I mean? And it's something that sounds small and easy, but it's a big deal. But if this defensive backfield can do that, again, this defense and therefore this team will go down in the history books if these outside corners can find a way to make plays at just slightly higher of a clip than they did last year.
Yeah, I think the consistency is the key there because, like you said, the talent's there, and the unit along with the linebackers led the ACC in interceptions. But at times, there were just too many chunk plays where, like you're saying, the corners are not turning around looking for the ball and making a play on it, and that inconsistency gets you in trouble.
Getting your hips turned around, like you said, driving on the ball, playing good technique. You don't want to get a stupid PI. Now there are good PIs out there. I will say, when you get beat, grab them. It doesn't hurt you like it does in the NFL. Yeah. So you tip your hat, you got beat, you get back, and you play the next play. But we hadn't even talked about the second team guys. That was just mostly first team. And you did sprinkle a couple of names in there, but your Josh Pierre Lewis's, who are redshirt freshmen. I mean, he's a guy that made some great plays last year. I mean, I think there was one game, I think you heard his name like 3 or 4 times in a row. And it was just like, there's that guy again showing up on film. And then Tayshaun Smith, who I think is going to, be an impact guy. Raheem Ashford. He's, those are a couple of guys that transferred into the program. Devon Boykin, again, another guy that, can play really, really good ball. So, I think, in years past, we haven't always had great depth at our secondary. And I think that's developed a lot of great thing that, this program, and COVID has helped that a little bit, obviously, but, we've developed secondary talent that we in years past, we couldn't sustain an injury. Like it would be doomsday. But, last year proved that, we've got guys that can, if you got to go in and make a play, next man up, as they say. So I'm really excited about Absolutely. That. With the guys that we kind of mentioned before, that obviously Cyrus Fagan coming back from injury, we hope for a really good bounce back for him. I think he's got a lot he wants to prove. He especially I think he was really disappointed that he didn't get to play against Florida State last year, and his injuries. But who's a guy that maybe is flying under the radar a little bit? For me, maybe Derrick Pitts Jr. I think I expect really big things from him. You could see, like I said, we mentioned the interception against Carolina, but he was a guy that, for me, you could see his game kept getting better as the season progressed. But who's a guy that you're thinking, man, he could have a big one this year?
I hope that I'm correct here, and I hope he's still with the program. But Chris Ingram is still with State, correct?
So I didn't see him on the 3 depth chart. What I was looking at.
Okay,
but
well,
I can't be for sure.
If he's going, I'm gonna tell you, a guy that I'm looking at and saying, you need to have a really big year and really need to be impactful. It has to be whoever is going to be the corner opposite of Pitts. I don't know who's going to win that competition. I'm not going to speculate on who's going to win that competition, but whoever does win it, they've got to do a good job out there. And Pitts, I mean, the same thing goes for him, but somebody needs to step up and prove themselves on that other side from him, because at the end of the day, the ACC is a league with quarterbacks on quarterbacks on quarterbacks on quarterbacks. Yeah, this is a league where you're going, as much as Keaton Slovis has regressed in his past couple of years, you're going to have to stop him. You're going to have to stop him, okay? As we talked about Hartman already, we don't know who the starting quarterback is going to be for the boys in baby blue. The reality is you're going to have to play some really good quarterbacks. Brennan Armstrong, a guy that many people tend to forget out of the mix. He was, I believe it was I can't remember who made the song, but it was Barry White, my first, my last, my everything. Was that him? Because
It
that's
definitely
what
could
he
be.
was. That's what Brennan Armstrong was for Virginia. He was
Yeah.
their first option, last option, they every option.
Yeah, that's
He
true.
if he couldn't figure it out, they weren't figuring out nothing. And yet he found a way to win that team some ball games with a defense that couldn't stop anything. They couldn't stop an off runny nose with tissue, Robitussin, the COVID vaccine, and 5 boosters. So the reality is, you're looking at a conference where you're going to play teams that are going to air the ball out. Because now you got Brennan Armstrong with Elliott over there in Virginia. Now you got Keaton Slovis with the coach who just coached up a Heisman finalist over there at Pitt. Now you've got another year of DJ being in an offense, being in the system, getting used to. You got Malik Cunningham, who I believe is one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in all the land. You've got to stop all these guys. So whoever is playing that opposite corner from Pitts, you got to prove yourself and prove yourself right away, big time, because Texas Tech is coming too. If you think that you can play around with the Red Raiders, their worst coach since the year 2000 is now the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. So, this is, and that's not my opinion. That's statistically speaking, he's got the lowest winning percentage out of those coaches. So that team, the Red Raiders going, they gonna air the ball out. They're gonna air the ball out. So if our corners are not up for the task, it's gonna be a long season and a very forgettable season. But if we get somebody on that other corner, we'll be all right.
Yeah, you mentioned the quarterbacks, and the ACC Atlantic, all 7 quarterbacks are back. So to your point, you're not bringing in some rookie quarterback. You're gonna face veteran guys. But go ahead, Mackenzie. What did you have?
One of the names that I think that is really under the radar is, and I'm probably going to be very bold right now, but during the spring game, Sean Brown. I think Sean Brown is about to be awesome for our defense. Watching him during the spring game, just watching him step up and act like that in one of a few situations that he had last season, he's gonna be really good this season. I feel like he's gonna bring a lot to, or help Tanner out a lot.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need. Offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
I think
he's good. Looks like the projections I'm looking at, going to start as a 3rd-team guy, but that's your third string guy. There's going to be a lot of competition. To your point, Kenton, that saying iron sharpens iron. They're going to make each other better. And let's not forget, in practice, they're going against Devin Leary, so that's going to make you a much better player. So they're going to face probably one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league. I mean, we're all biased. We're going to say he's number 1, but if you want to play, blah blah blah. But they're going against a top level quarterback in practice every day. So that's going to make them better by proxy. But so let's shift over. We'll talk for the last couple of minutes, expectations and some things, and some random thoughts that I came up with when we were when I was doing some research for this episode. The one thing that stood out to me, the biggest glaring stat, was we did not recover a fumble last year. And to me, that has got to change. You're going to need a play where a team is driving late. You need that impactful play. So for me, was there anything? I'm sure you've done a lot of research, Kenton, from your time with your podcast, Locked On Wolfpack. Is there anything that you noticed in your research that we were just like, I wouldn't have thought that from the unit?
I'm going to tell you why this was a stat that I was aware of, and Doran talked about it at ACC Media Days, and I heard it there, and so I went back and I watched a lot of NC State defense, and it was kind of a situation where literally the balls just bounced in crazy ways whenever there was a fumble, but also we did not have enough dynamic pass rushers. We did not have enough. One of the biggest ways to generate fumbles, if you look at fumbles every year at the college level, NFL level, high school level, the leaders across conferences, across divisions, all that good stuff every year are quarterbacks. They don't carry the ball the most. So what's causing that? I'll answer it for you. When there's a 270-pounder raking on your arm, when it's doing this thing here, you're not going to hold on to the football.
Yep.
So this is incumbent upon our folks who are rushing. There has to be a very, very intentional effort. I only got one sack in my NC State career. It was against Presbyterian. But in that sack, Coach Ryan Nilsson, who was the defensive line coach at the time, he's with the Saints now. He said, I see what you're doing there, man. As soon as you got there, you did exactly what we practiced. One hand on hip, the other hand raking through for the ball. Did I get the fumble? No. But it's about number one, practicing and drilling that to death. And number two, when you get out there and the live bullets are flying, you can't forget your technique. Because at the end of the day, that little thing of securing the tackle, raking at the arm, it's another one of those things that it seems small. That is a game changer. Because if you're beating your guy, you get there, you force a fumble, somebody else is beating their guy, I'm going to tell you, there's a funny thing that happens on pass plays. Receivers run down the field. I know. Y'all keep that one. So they're the fastest. They're the fastest guys on the field. They're way down the field. The only people left, if you get that ball, it's you and the actual big uglies if you scoop it. You can either go score, you can set us up in great field position. You can do a lot of great things just by doing the little thing of paying attention to the detail and clawing and scraping and fighting for that ball to come out. It's got to happen. It just has to happen more, because at the end of the day, the best way to help out the corners who we don't know, or there's like, what's going to happen here? The best way to help them out is get them off the field. You know how you get them off the field? Get the ball away from the other team. Yep. That's it.
Yep. So you mentioned a couple right there, but let me just throw this question out there. I think maybe this might be the last one we touch on. For this defense to be successful, give me keys. What do they got to do?
Oh man, now Greg doing too much research out here, because when I used to work for Sports Illustrated, I had a segment called Ken's Keys every Friday or every night before the game. So I'm gonna hit you with some Ken's Keys for NC State's defense to be successful. Okay, number one, we've talked about it in this episode, and I'm gonna keep going back to it. And there's something that needs to happen. Whoever is opposite of Pitts on the outside has to step up and has to be at minimum good. You got to be better than serviceable. Because if you're serviceable over there, well, here's what happens, okay? You got a linebacking core that's dynamic. You got a defensive line group that is scary. You got safeties that get the job done. You got a corner on the other side that's proven, and he's going to be better than serviceable. So if you are just serviceable, what happens? Teams like to pick on you. They like to bully you. They like to say, that guy is, don't worry about it. Hey, get our best receiver away from Pitts. Make sure he's on that guy's side. And then you're going to have some long Saturdays ahead of you, buddy. So that's the first key. Second key to this team succeeding is an absolutely relentless effort to stop the run. Absolutely relentless. At the end of the day, there are so many new head coaches in this conference. There are tons of good quarterbacks, but here's what that effect has on a lot of teams. Coaches anticipate that, every team knows, they've got a really good quarterback. You've got Jerkovich coming back. You've got Slovis. You've got Big Cinco. You've got all these guys. We need to stop the pass. We need to be more finesse. Coaches rely on that and say, all right, great. Now we're going to be physical and punch them in the mouth. We've got the talent to do so easily, but it has to get done. It just has to get done. And the last key, the final key to this team or to this defense having success, take the ball away. If we are one of the leaders in this conference in takeaways, there is the chances that we are not also a top team in the conference overall, slim to none, and Slim got 1 foot left in the door. So that's, to me, those are the three keys.
Right.
Somebody other than Pitts has to emerge as far as the outside corners. Stop the run, take away the football. Okay, these quarterbacks in this league, they're good. They're going to get theirs. A lot of these guys are going to be playing on Sundays. They're going to get theirs. But you know what? If you can do those three things against these teams, you'll be all right. If you can stop the run, congratulations. You done beat Syracuse right there. You already got them. If you can stop the run, congratulations. You probably also beat Boston College. I don't care how good Zay Flowers is. They still run that 3-yarder cloud of dust offense. Sorry, y'all. I know that they thought that they had something different with Halfley. Congratulations. It's a Dazio Jr., basically. Like, that's just what's going on there. So
same difference with Clemson too.
Exactly.
Make Cinco prove it, because he hasn't yet.
Make him beat you with his arm. And if he does, who knows? And if they got to bring in that young kid, Cade, that everybody says is so good, even better. Exactly. So, that's Malik Cunningham in Louisville. Louisville, I don't know what's going on with them, but they ain't been able to get no good receivers there since Devontae Parker. Those receivers ain't pissed a drop since he left. So the reality is, if you can stop the run, we just named 4 conference games that you're going to win. Right there. And again, take away the ball. That's the third thing. I would say it's up there with stop the run in terms of importance, but those things got to happen. And if they do, you're going to have another one of those banners hanging behind you, Big Greg. You're going to have another one.
So I'll add my 2 cents, and then we can, get Michael and Mackenzie's thoughts. My non-2 that you didn't mention, you're going to need a little luck, right? You need a little luck. You're going to need a ball, like you said, on those fumbles. You're going to need a ball bounce your way. You're going to need to get, I don't know, there's going to probably be a nasty weather game. You're going to need a little luck in that maybe. And then with luck goes, got to stay healthy. If you can avoid the injury bug, you're going to have some injuries. Obviously, it's football, right? You're going to have nicks and bruises, and hopefully nothing broken. But if you can avoid that, I think we're going to be in great shape. We've already proven that, with a full roster, even with a depleted roster, we won 9 games last year, and we won some games that we just gutted out. Right? We had that Clemson game, we gutted it out. Carolina, we gutted it out. We found a way. So if you can do that, I have no doubt we'll be successful. But Michael, what are your thoughts for this defense to be good? What are you looking for?
Yeah, I mean, kind of what you guys have already touched on. I mean, I think number one thing is staying healthy. I think the second most important thing is a better pass rush, getting to the quarterback, and getting turnovers, capitalizing on the other team's mistakes, like especially turning those turnovers into points. If you can get an interception or a fumble and immediately score off of that, that's just easy points. And just for the mental aspect of the game and momentum, it really changes the games.
Yeah, that's a great point, especially on the road, right? If you can get one of those, impact plays, you can take the crowd out real fast, and that's obviously the key, for your squad. Mackenzie, anything that we haven't touched on yet?
I think we just can't get too comfortable. There were some games last season where I think our guys went in and they were like, "This is going to be an easy win. Let's get this over with and prepare for next week." Can't do that this season, because obviously, with NC State, what the next word is. Anything can happen at any day. So I feel like them saying about the 1-0 every week is something that has to be drilled into their brain all season. I feel like, because even with injuries, luck, all that, we have enough talent to do it, and that's not even me being biased as much as I am. I just think that we have to show that each game we're going to come in, give it our all, and show the talent that this team has in order to get there.
Yeah, that's a good point. You want to stay hungry, and then the famous, I think it was Julius Hodge, right? When we hungry, we eat, right? So we want to stay hungry, stay motivated, and I think everything that the team experienced last year, I think they're going to stay that way, and I have no doubt that we're going to do that. Now, I will say we're going to have some other episodes here in the future. I'm sure where Michael, Mackenzie, and I will make our predictions. But since we got you here, what's your prediction there, Kenton, for the season?
Oh, man, y'all put me on the spot. And I really don't. Well, I'm going to say it. I think that this year changes the trajectory of this program forever. I think that this year last year was the foundation, and this year we're building the ground floor. We're building up the base of what this program wants to be going forward. So I've got this squad going. Ooh, I hate to say this because people gonna kill me for it.
It's okay.
I got 12-2, man. I got 12-2. I think that we're gonna win us an ACC championship. I think we're gonna lose one game along the way. I think we're gonna win an ACC championship, and I'm not sure if we're quite ready to win the New Year's Six Bowl yet. I think we're gonna get to one. I don't think we make the playoff, but I think we get to a New Year's Six. I believe the Orange Bowl is the ACC tie-in this year.
Yep.
So I think they go to the Orange.
I think
they go to the Orange Bowl. And depending on the opponent, if they get a group of five, the best group of five team, we got a shot. But if the wrong jaw comes out there, I think 12-2 is what we're looking at here.
Yeah, and not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but when you get to a whole game, anything's possible with opt-outs and so on and so forth on both sides. So yeah. I think that's definitely a realistic goal and an expectation. I think anything short of an ACC championship, I think we can all agree on, would kind of be a letdown based on the hype, that the internal hype, not so much the outside noise, because obviously this squad isn't going to listen to all that, and of course Coach Dorn won't let them. All right, with that being said, Kenton, we appreciate you so much. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to plug all your goodies out there, all your podcasts, what you're doing, where people can find you. So, sir, the floor is yours once again.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, thank you all so very much for having me. I appreciate the ability to be on with y'all. It's always great to be with folks who are not only passionate but knowledgeable about NC State sports and about the game in and of itself. So I appreciate that. You can find me at Locked On Wolfpack. I'm on pretty much every platform you could imagine there. You can also find me at Facts Over Acts. That's a podcast I run with two of my friends that, we have a great time doing it. It's always a good time. That was a little bit more social and sports commentary than Locked On Wolfpack, which is all Wolfpack all the time, downhill, no frills type of deal there.
Great. And we'll have all that information in the description. So make sure you go out and give Kenton a follow. What about social media? Can they find you out there on any kind of Twitter, TikTok?
Plug that too, please. LO__ Wolfpack on Twitter. TikTok, Ken Talk Sports. Also, Facts Over Acts 22, I believe, is the TikTok account. And TGIF_Ken is my handle on Twitter. Just know you are getting Kenton the man, not the sports journalist. So there will be things outside of sports journalism I talk about there.
Fair. That's fair. That's a good general warning to the audience. But again, thank you so much. And we'll put all that information in the description below so you can go out and follow my man Kenton. He's doing great things. He's a lover of NC State. We appreciate him. Wolfpack Nation, again, like, subscribe, share, hit the button for notifications. You already know what to do. I'm just a broken record at this point. And next time, we'll see you soon.